The space station called Violoc Prime floated quietly in the dark of space. Its silver walls shine under the light of a distant sun, and thousands of alien ships moved in and out of its ports like insects around a hive. For centuries, Violoc Prime had been known for one strict rule: no guns, no bullets, no projectile weapons of any kind. Every species obeyed this rule, especially when the Great Council passed the no kinetic weapons law after the War of Ashes. When humans arrived in the galaxy, most alien species believed they were wild, dangerous, and unpredictable. Old reports spoke about human wars, human guns, and the chaos they caused on their home planet. Because of this, the Alien Council demanded strict inspections for every human who stepped onto their stations. On this day, a small human delegation waited in line at Docking Gate 7. 5 humans stood there, 3 men and 2 women, wearing simple gray suits and carrying small travel bags. To the aliens, they looked harmless. To themselves, they knew they were anything but. A tall alien guard, with blue skin and 4 black eyes, approached the human group. His name was Serac, and he hated humans more than most. Stepped forward. Serac said, "Weapons check." The humans obeyed with calm expressions. They placed their bags on the inspection table. The alien scanners hummed and glowed as they passed over every item. No guns, no bullets, no explosives. The guards relaxed, but something caught Serac's attention. Inside one of the bags were long, curved pieces of metal and tightly rolled strings. The scanner showed them as non-lethal objects with no explosive power. Serac frowned. "What are these items?" The human leader, a woman named Captain Lyra Hale, answered softly, "Sporting equipment, training tools." Serac stared at her for a long moment, but the scanner showed no threat. He allowed them through. The humans walked deeper into the station, past crowds of aliens who kept their distance. Some watched with fear, others with curiosity, and some with quiet dislike. Humans were still new here, still mysterious, still mistrusted. Violoc Prime was busy as always. Merchants yelled out prices, ships roared across hangars, and guards marched in patterns that showed strict discipline. But under this noise, something darker was brewing. Inside an abandoned engineering bay, a group of rogue aliens prepared for a violent plan. They wanted to overthrow the station command, destroy the Council's laws, and start a new war. Their leader, a tall crimson-skinned alien named Vorla, activated a device that disabled the station's energy shields from inside. At once, alarms screamed across every deck. Lights flickered. Control panels exploded. Thousands of aliens panicked as metal doors slammed shut. The guards tried to activate their weapons, but without the energy shields, the entire system malfunctioned. No guns, no energy weapons, no defense. Chaos erupted. Captain Lyra and her team stayed calm. They opened their bags and quickly assembled their training tools. The curved metal became steel bows. The strings tightened into sleek, powerful lines. Small boxes opened to reveal long, sharp arrows made from a strong alloy. The other aliens stared in confusion. "What are those?" one technician whispered. Lyra pulled the bowstring back in a smooth motion. The station lights cast shadows over her face as the metal groaned with tension. "A very old human invention," she said. "Silent, strong, deadly." Down the hall, rogue aliens charged forward with heavy armor and sharp blades. The station's normal guards couldn't stop them. Many were running, others hiding, and some were already injured. Lyra raised her bow. "Team, hold positions." The humans moved like trained soldiers. Quiet, calm, focused. They formed a tight line behind overturned supply crates. The rogue aliens rushed closer, confident in their thick armor. They believed these humans were unarmed and helpless. They were wrong. Lyra released the first arrow. It flew silently, cutting through the air like a silver streak, and pierced straight through the enemy leader's armor. The alien fell, shocked, gasping, unable to understand how such a simple weapon had defeated him. His team froze, and the humans raised their bows again. On the upper balcony, dozens of alien witnesses watched with wide eyes. Until today, they thought humans were dangerous because of guns. But now they were seeing the truth. Humans never needed guns at all. The battle for Violoc Prime had just begun. The air inside Violoc Prime felt heavy as the first rogue alien fell. His armored body hit the floor with a loud metallic thud that echoed across the corridor. For a moment, everything went still. The other rogue aliens froze, their eyes wide with shock. They looked at the fallen soldier, then at the humans who held strange, curved weapons that glowed under the emergency lights. Captain Lyra did not waste a second. "Advance 2 steps. Keep formation," she ordered. Her voice was calm, almost cold. The 4 humans moved together like pieces of a well-trained machine. Their boots tapped lightly on the metal floor. Their bows stayed raised, strings pulled tight. The rogue aliens let out angry roars as they recovered from their shock. They believed the first strike was luck, an accident. They prepared to charge again, raising their blades and shields. Lyra knocked another arrow. "Targets incoming," she said. "Aim for joints." The humans released their arrows at the same time. For steel shafts cut through the air, fast and silent. The rogue aliens tried to block the shots with their shields, but the arrows bent around the edges or slipped to their arm gaps with deadly precision. One alien dropped instantly. Another screamed as an arrow pierced through his leg. The remaining 2 hesitated. Humans were not supposed to be this dangerous. Not without guns. Not with simple metal bows. But the truth was becoming clear. The bows weren't simple. And neither were the humans. On the upper balcony, alien technicians, guards, and workers watched with disbelief. Some had mocked humans before. Others avoided them. A few feared them. But none had ever seen a human fight in person. Now they were staring at something terrifyingly beautiful. Humans moving with smooth discipline, firing arrows with perfect accuracy, reading each other's motions without speaking. One alien whispered, "Their weapons, they move like part of their bodies." Another said, "This is why their species survived their death world." Below, the battle continued. A group of 10 rogue aliens burst through a side door, thinking they could overwhelm the 5 humans with numbers and brute strength. They ran forward in a tight wave, armored feet pounding the ground. Human number 2, a tall man named Rylan, lifted his bow and took a deep breath. "Lyra," he said softly, "left corridor." "I see it," she replied. The humans split their formation for the first time. 2 moved left, 2 moved right. Lyra stayed at the center, becoming the anchor point of their defense. The rogue aliens charged straight toward her. She waited. 5 meters. 4. 3. Then she stepped back with perfect timing and fired. The arrow hit the first alien's visor, punching to the glass-like material and sending him crashing backward. The others stumbled over him, breaking their formation. That was all the humans needed. "Now!" Lyra shouted. The 4 humans on the sides fired in a synchronized storm. 6 arrows flew within 2 seconds. The enemy squad fell one by one, their armor failing, joints pierced, legs crippled, chests cracked open. The corridor filled with the sound of metal collapsing on metal. But the danger wasn't over. The station trembled from another explosion somewhere deep inside. Lights flickered. Smoke rolled out from a broken vent above. A robotic announcement repeated through the speakers. "Warning. Station power unstable. Internal defenses offline." Commander Serac, who had earlier inspected the humans, came running down the hall with several alien guards. When he saw the bodies on the ground and the humans still holding their bows, his 4 black eyes widened with a mix of fear and admiration. "You took down all of them?" he asked. Captain Lyra did not lower her bow. "The rogue faction is large. These were only scouts." Serac swallowed hard. "We cannot stop them. Without energy weapons, we are nearly defenseless." Lyra looked at him. Her expression was serious, but not cruel. "Then stay behind us. We'll clear the way." The alien guards exchanged nervous glances. They had always seen humans as troublemakers. But now, in this moment, humans were the only ones standing between them and total destruction. Serac pointed toward the upper decks. "The rebels are trying to reach the command core. If they take control, the whole station is lost." Lyra nodded. "Then that's where we're going." She turned to her team. Check arrows. Replace damaged ones. Stay tight. The humans quickly examined their quivers, counting the remaining arrows. Many had already been used, but they still had enough. Rylan handed Lyra a fresh bundle of steel-tipped shafts. "We'll need more," he said quietly. "We'll make more," Lyra replied. They began moving to the corridor, passing the bodies of defeated enemies. Aliens stepped aside for them with a mix of awe and fear. Some bowed their heads. Others whispered prayers. A few simply stared, unable to find words. To them, this wasn't just a fight. This was a revelation. Humans didn't break the no-gun law. They simply didn't need guns at all. As the team approached the next sector, they heard echoing metallic footsteps. Heavy, organized, disciplined. A larger rogue squad was waiting for them. 20 armored aliens stood in the shadows, preparing to ambush. Their leader raised a glowing blade and shouted, "Humans, you should have stayed unarmed." Lyra took one slow step forward. "We never were." She lifted her bow. The aliens charged. The moment the rogue aliens charged, the hallway exploded into motion. Their heavy armored boots slammed against the metal floor, echoing like thunder through the passage. Sparks flew as some dragged energy blades along the walls, trying to frighten the humans with noise and intimidation. But Captain Lyra's team did not move back. They moved forward. "Hold lines," Lyra shouted. She planted her feet, raised her bow, and fired the first arrow. It flew straight toward the enemy leader, slicing through the air with pure speed. The alien swung his glowing blade to block it, but the arrow didn't hit the blade. It curved downward at the last moment and stabbed into the soft metal joint under his arm. He fell instantly. The rest of the rogue squad hesitated. They had expected to crush the small group of humans easily. Instead, their leader lay motionless at their feet. Rylan stepped to the right side, firing 2 arrows in quick succession. One pierced the helmet visor. Another hit an alien's leg, dropping him with a cry of pain. On the left side, Mira and Caden coordinated their shots. They moved like mirrored reflections, one firing high, the other low. The alien squad found themselves forced to block attacks from every angle. But even with this, the enemy still had numbers. 18 armored aliens charged forward with angry roars, closing the distance fast. "Forwards," Lyra commanded. The humans ran straight at them. The watching aliens in the hall gasped. No species ever charged a larger force, especially not with ancient weapons. But humans were different. They didn't fight to intimidate. They fought to win. At the last second, the humans slid sideways into formation, forcing the rogue aliens to collide with each other. Armor smashed against armor. Their tight formation broke apart, and they stumbled into a messy cluster. That was when the humans struck. Rylan leaped onto a crate, giving himself high ground. From there, he fired downward, each arrow hitting with brutal force. Caden swung low, planting arrows into enemy knees and feet. Mira targeted weak points, neck rings, shoulder joints, exposed wiring on damaged armor. The aliens screamed as their armor failed. More fell to the ground. But the fight wasn't easy. A massive rogue alien with dark red armor lunged at Lyra. His size was almost double hers, and his blade glowed bright yellow. He swung with great strength, aiming to cut her down in one strike. Lyra moved faster. She ducked under the blade, spinning to the side. The alien recovered quickly and swung again. Sparks flew when the blade sliced a metal railing inches from her face. She used a moment to grab a fallen arrow from the ground and thrust it upward. The arrowhead pierced the alien's throat joint. He collapsed with a loud crash, shaking the floor. "Sector clear," Rylan shouted, but only for a second. The station lights flickered again, and another explosion shook the walls. The rebels were pushing deeper into the station, fighting their way toward the command core. Serac and the other alien guards ran up behind the human team. Their faces were pale, their breathing heavy. "You defeated all of them?" Serac asked, staring at the pile of armored bodies. Lyra didn't turn around. She simply said, "We don't have time for this. How far to the command core?" 3 levels, Serac answered, and the rebels already control the lift systems. The only route is through the maintenance shafts. Rylan wiped sweat from his face. Then that's where we go. The humans gathered their arrows, checking for damage. Some arrows were bent from hitting armor. Others were broken. They still had enough for a fight, but not enough for a long war. Lyra noticed Serac, watching the bows with curiosity and fear. "You're wondering how they work," she said. Serac nodded slowly. "Your scanners showed no threat, no energy signatures, no explosives. And yet these weapons, they pierce our armor like paper." Lyra allowed herself a small smile. "Because they don't rely on power. They rely on us." The alien guards still looked confused. Rylan explained, "The bows are made of a special steel alloy, stronger than what most species use, very flexible. And our bodies," he tapped his arm, "have dense muscles, high, fast twitch response. Humans evolved on a deaf world. We needed strength to survive." Mira added softly, "Our ancestors used bows long before guns. Some could shoot with perfect accuracy from hundreds of meters away." Serac's eyes widened. "So these ancient weapons become stronger in your hands because of your biology?" "In simple words, yes," Lyra said. "Technology doesn't always matter. Technique does." Serac stared at the bows again, finally understanding why humans terrified so many species. Guns didn't make humans dangerous. Humans made guns dangerous. Before he could speak again, a voice crackled through the station speakers. "Command deck breached. Rebels entering main control chamber." Lyra's expression hardened. She signaled her team to move. "We're out of time. Serac, guide us." The group ran toward a maintenance door. Serac pressed his hand to the lock panel, and the metal door slid open. A narrow tunnel stretched into the darkness. Rylan lit a small handheld lamp. Perfect place for an ambush. Lyra nodded. "Stay ready. Tight formation. Quiet steps." They entered the tunnel, the walls closing around them. Behind them, curious aliens whispered, "Humans, how can they fight like this? How do bows beat armor? Are they even safe to live with? Or are they the most dangerous allies in the galaxy?" As Lyra's team moved deeper into the station, the air grew colder. Strange noises echoed ahead, metal scraping, footsteps, distant voices. The command core was close, and the rebels were waiting. The humans knocked their arrows. The real battle was about to begin. The maintenance tunnel grew darker as the humans moved deeper inside. The narrow walls forced them into a tight single line. Pipes rattled overhead, carrying hot steam. Strange clicking sounds echoed from somewhere far ahead. Every shadow looked suspicious. Every step felt heavier. Serac walked behind the humans, whispering nervously, "These tunnels are rarely used. Only engineers come here. If the rebels entered, they would have placed traps." Lyra slowed the team. "Everyone eyes sharp. Listen before you step." Rylan raised his lamp higher, lighting the path. The faint glow revealed scratch marks on the walls, along with strange black stains that looked fresh. Mira knelt to examine them. Burn marks, plasma cutters. They were here recently. Caden studied the floor. "I see heavy footprints. The rebels aren't just soldiers, they're moving equipment." Serac swallowed. "Equipment? What kind?" Lyra answered in a low voice. "Something big. Something for breaking through the command core doors." They moved forward more carefully now, every sense alert. The narrow path began to widen, opening into a larger service chamber filled with metal crates and storage shelves. Emergency red lights blinked overhead. Lyra held up her hand. The team froze instantly. She pointed to the floor. A thin line of nearly invisible wire stretched across the entrance. "It's a tripwire," she said quietly. Beside it sat a small charge wired to the wall. It wasn't large enough to destroy the chamber, but it could kill the first two people who stepped through. Rylan crouched to inspect it. Triggered once means chain reaction. They placed more. Mira scanned the room. Left corner. Another wire. Back wall. Pressure plate 2. Serac's voice shook. "We can't pass." Lyra raised one finger, silencing him. She studied the trap pattern quickly. Her eyes narrowed. "We go high. Rylan understood instantly. He stepped back, took a deep breath, and leaped onto a crate. The metal creaked softly under his weight. He reached down, helping Mira and Caden climb up. Lyra followed, using the top of a pipe to pull herself up. Serac stared in disbelief. Humans can climb like that? Caden smirked. Death world. Bad terrain. Lots of practice. They moved across the tops of the crates, avoiding the wires below. At the far end, they jumped down safely, landing with light thuds. But before they could continue, they heard voices. Several rebels were just beyond the next door. Quiet, Lyra whispered. The humans pressed against the wall, listening. Breach tool is almost ready, a rebel voice said. Command core doors are strong, another complained. Doesn't matter. Once we get inside, the whole station belongs to us. Serac's eyes widened in terror. If the rebels controlled the core, they could shut off oxygen, redirect power, or even detonate the station's reactors. We must stop them now, he whispered anxiously. Lyra gave a small nod. Positions. We hit fast. The humans lined up beside the sliding door. Mira started counting silently with her fingers. 3, 2, 1. Rylan slammed the emergency manual lever. The door burst open. 8 rebels inside turned in surprise. Their armor glowed faintly under the workshop lights. A massive machine, like a giant metal drill, was being connected to the command core door on the wall. The rebels reached for their weapons. Too slow. Thwip, thwip, thwip. 3 arrows flew before the first rebel even shouted. One hit a shoulder joint, forcing an alien to drop his blade. Another pierced through a helmet visor. The third struck a knee plate, making a rebel collapse. Chaos erupted instantly. The rebels scrambled for cover, flipping crates and grabbing tools as improvised shields. Sparks flew as arrows struck metal. Mira moved fast, circling left and firing rapid shots. Caden went right, keeping the enemies pinned. Serac ducked behind a crate, trembling as arrows whistled overhead. One rebel, larger than the rest, charged straight at Lyra with a heavy shield raised. He roared, swinging a hammer-like weapon made from fused scrap metal. Lyra didn't step back. She stepped forward. She sprinted the last few feet, ducked under the hammer's swing, planted her foot against the shield, and vaulted over it, landing behind the alien. Before he could turn, she fired an arrow directly into the back of his armor's weak canister joint. The rebel dropped instantly. Rylan blocked a blade with his bow, sparks lighting his face. He twisted, elbowed the alien in the throat, and fired an arrow point-blank into his chest. 2 rebels ran toward their breach machine, trying to trigger it remotely. Not a chance, Mira muttered. She released 2 arrows, hitting both rebels in their hands. They cried out, dropping the remote. Within a minute, 7 of the 8 rebels were down, injured, or dead. Only one remained, a slim alien engineer controlling the drill machine. He pressed buttons rapidly, panicking. Lyra, Caden shouted. He's trying to overload it. Lyra sprinted forward and slid across the floor, grabbing an arrow. She rammed it into the machine's power cable, jamming the mechanism. Sparks exploded. The drill died. The rebel engineer froze, staring at her in terror. It's over, Lyra said. The alien dropped to his knees. Serac approached, breathing heavily. The breach device destroyed? Disabled, Lyra corrected. But not for long. They will send more. She walked to the massive command core door. Its surface was thick, glowing with blue patterns. It was built to survive explosions, hacking, and even shipboarding operations, but not endless attacks. Serac shook his head. There is no time. The rebels still control the entire west sector. They will regroup. Lyra looked at her team. They were sweating, breathing hard, arrows running low, but none were afraid. Then we hold here, she said. We protect the core. Just us. Serac asked. No, Lyra answered. Not just us. She turned her head slightly. Someone is coming. Footsteps echoed behind them, different from rebel footsteps. Lighter, faster, many. Aliens from across the station were approaching, not to run but to fight. They had seen enough to understand. Humans weren't monsters. Humans were warriors. And Violoc Prime needed them. The footsteps grew louder, echoing to the metal tunnels like a rising storm. Lyra raised her bow, prepared for another wave of rebels. But then she saw something surprising. A group of alien citizens, and guards ran toward them. Some carried tools, some held metal pipes, and some had old ceremonial weapons. Their faces were frightened but determined. Leading them was an alien engineer named Tavnek, a short creature with orange scales and bright green eyes. He raised his hand. "We came to help." Tavnek shouted. Serac blinked in shock. "You? And all these others?" Tavnek nodded. "We saw what the humans did. We saw how they fought for us. We cannot run while the rebels try to destroy our home." Behind him, dozens of aliens, all shapes, sizes, and colors, stood ready. Some were trembling, but none stepped back. Lyra's eyes softened for a moment. She nodded with respect. "Good," she said. "We'll need you." The chamber around the command door became a battlefield waiting to happen. Workers stacked crates into makeshift barricades. Guards checked any weapon-like tools they could find. Even small alien species, barely taller than a chair, carried wrenches or metal rods, ready to defend their station. Rylan looked around. "Still not enough. The rebels outnumber us 10-1. Mira added, "And we're running low on arrows." Caden looked at Lyra. "What's the plan?" Lyra stepped toward a crate and opened it. Inside were small metal rods, maintenance tubing. She lifted one and tested its weight. "Serac," she said, "find me a workshop. We need a forge." Serac's color drained. "You want to make weapons now?" Lyra nodded. "We're humans. We build what we need." Tavnek raised his hand. "I know where to take you." The aliens cleared a path as Lyra's team followed Tavnek through another maintenance passage into a small workshop. Tools hung on the walls. Metal scraps were stacked in piles. In the center was a glowing welding unit. Hot, bright, and perfect. Lyra smiled slightly. "This will work." The humans spread out instantly, grabbing materials. They worked with smooth flow, almost like they had done this many times before. Rylan heated a metal rod in the welding flame until it glowed orange. Mira hammered it into a sharp point with heavy blows. Caden shaped it into a long arrowhead. Lyra checked the balance and weight. Serac watched in awe. "You're making arrows from scrap?" Lyra nodded. "Stronger than the ones we lost." Tavnek touched one of the rods. "But this metal is basic engineering steel, not the special alloy you humans use." Rylan shrugged. "We don't need perfect. We need sharp." Mira looked at the aliens in the workshop. "Anyone with steady hands, come help." 3 aliens joined immediately. One held the metal steady. Another cooled finished arrowheads in water, and the third polished rough edges. In less than 10 minutes, they had a small pile of new arrows. Not beautiful, not perfect, but deadly. Just in time, the ground rumbled. A deep alarm echoed through the station. "Warning. Rebel forces approaching command core. All defenders prepare for combat." Tavnek looked terrified. "They're coming." Lyra grabbed her bow and a bundle of fresh arrows. "Then let them come." The humans and aliens moved back to the command core chamber. The tension was thick. Every alien defender held their breath. Some whispered prayers. Others adjusted their makeshift weapons. Rylan tapped the barricade. "At least it looks like a defense line." "No," Mira corrected. "It is a defense line." The lights flickered again as power circuits struggled. Smoke drifted from a damaged pipe above. Sparks crackled along the ceiling. Then everyone heard it. Boom. A powerful explosion against the far door. Boom. Another. Caden's face hardened. "They're using breaching explosives again." Serac shook, "But the door to this section is thick." Boom. A huge dent formed on the metal door at the far end of the corridor. Aliens gasped. Lyra lifted her bow. "They'll be through in seconds. Everyone stay low. Fight smart." She looked at the alien defenders. "You don't need to be fast. You don't need to be strong. You just need to hit the enemy once." You hit them once, we'll do the rest. Fear turned into silent courage in their eyes. Another massive explosion slammed the far door. It cracked. Then the door burst inward. A wave of smoke rolled into the chamber, followed by shadows. Dozens of armored rebels marched through, weapons raised, voices roaring. Attack the core. Take the station. Kill the humans. Lyra fired the first arrow, and the second, and the third. Each one found a target. Rylan and Mira shot beside her, their arrows slamming into joints and neck plates. Caden aimed at legs, dropping rebels quickly. The alien defenders charged with their makeshift weapons, hitting rebels hard enough to slow them or push them back into arrow range. The corridor turned into chaos. Energy blades flashed. Metal rods swung. Arrows pierced armor again and again. A rebel commander roared over the noise. Push forward. Their arrows must run out. Lyra heard him and smiled coldly. Then we'll use something else. She grabbed a heavy metal wrench from a nearby crate, spun it once in her hand, and threw it with all her strength. It smashed into the commander's helmet like a falling meteor. He crashed back into his own troops. The humans advanced. The rebels, seeing their front line collapse, began shouting in fear. This wasn't supposed to happen. There are only 5 humans. Why can't we defeat them? Lyra pulled back another arrow, sweat dripping down her face. Because, she said softly, humans don't fall. Her next arrow struck the rebel commander again, finishing the job. The rebels panicked. Their formation broke. And suddenly, the tide of battle shifted. The sky above Outpost 9 split open with a roar that shook the metal floors. Everyone inside the command room felt the vibration under their boots. Lights flickered. The air tasted like burning metal again. For a moment, it felt like the first attack all over, when the alien ships had fired without warning. But this time, the humans were not helpless. Commander Hale rushed the windows, pulling back the reinforced shutter. What he saw made him freeze. The aliens were not landing ships. They were opening a sky gate. A glowing red tear spread wider and wider across clouds, like a wound leaking fire. Lightning crawled around it. Small black shapes slipped through the opening, fast, smooth, needle-like craft, much smaller than their usual attack cruisers. A new type of weapon, a new type of threat. Hale felt his jaw tighten. They're not trying to break the walls anymore, he said. They're sending in assassins. Rex stood next to him, gripping the steel longbow in his hands. His voice stayed calm. Good. We needed a challenge. Dr. Veeler watched from behind them. Her face lost all color. Commander, those are the stalkers. She swallowed hard. They kill silently. No ships. No missiles. They cut power, slip into bases, and a loud alarm screamed through the room. The outpost lights died. Pitch black. For 3 seconds, the world went quiet. No buzzing. No fans. Not even radio static. Then emergency red lights snapped on. Panels sparked. Officers shouted into dead radios. The base had lost full power. Someone or something was already inside. Rex took the lead without waiting for orders. He moved like he could see in the red glow better than anyone. Hale followed, his hand on his pistol, useless against shielded enemies but comforting. Dr. Veeler stayed close behind, clutching a datapad. She whispered to herself, "Try and predict what the stalkers would do next." As they reached the main corridor, they saw the first sign of intrusion. The steel hallway wall had a long, clean cut through it, sliced open like butter. Rex knelt beside it, touching the metal. No heat marks. No explosives. This was a plasma blade. Hale nodded. They're testing the structure. Veeler shook her head quickly. No, they're mapping paths. They cut only where they know humans hide. They study movement patterns. A sudden crash echoed from deeper inside the base. A scream followed, then silence. Rex didn't hesitate. He sprinted. When he reached the dorm section, he saw what happened. The door had been sliced straight through. Sparks still danced around the cut edges. Inside the room, 3 soldiers lay unconscious on the floor, alive, but knocked out from a concussive blast. But the real danger stood in the center. A tall, narrow alien figure, black armor, glowing blue lenses, claws humming with energy. A stalker. The creature turned its head slowly toward Rex. It didn't speak. It didn't posture. It simply lunged. Rex moved faster. He rolled to the side, drawing the steel bow with one smooth pull. He fired before he even finished standing. The arrow shot forward, silent, deadly, perfectly aimed. The stalker twisted impossibly fast. The arrow grazed its shoulder instead of hitting the heart. Still, the alien recoiled in shock. It had never seen a projectile ignore shields. Rex grinned. First time. The alien hissed an electronic, glitching sound and attacked again. This time, Rex met it head-on. He grabbed his second arrow and blocked the plasma blade with the steel shaft. Sparks filled the room. The alien pushed with inhuman strength. Rex held his ground, boots scraping across the floor, but not slipping. The stalker pulled back for another strike. Rex used that moment to ram the steel arrow straight into the alien's torso. No bow required. The point punched through armor, then flesh, then out the other side. The stalker froze, trembled, then collapsed like a puppet with its strings cut. Hale and Wheeler arrived just as Rex wiped his hand on his shirt. Wheeler stared at the dead alien. That was a stalker elite, and you killed it alone. Rex shrugged. Should have brought thicker armor. But the danger was far from over. The speakers crackled weakly, barely alive. Commander Hale, we have multiple breaches. North Wall, South Hall, Power Core. The signal died. More stalkers had entered the base. Hale clenched his fists. They're trying to take the whole outpost before dawn. Wheeler checked her datapad. No, not take it. Destroy it. Their energy readings show destabilizing plasma units. Rex frowned. In simple words, they're planting bombs. Hale swore under his breath. If those charges go off, the entire valley burns. Rex notched another arrow. Then we find them before they finish planting. Wheeler hesitated. There might be dozens of stalkers. Rex cracked his knuckles. Good. Saves me the trouble of hunting them later. Hale gave a sharp nod. All right then. He pointed down the dim corridor. We take back this outpost. Room by room. Hall by hall. Rex smiled. Let's go break their Skygate plan. And with that, the three of them plunged deeper into the half-dead base, toward the shadows where stalkers waited. The real battle had just begun. The halls of Outpost 9 were no longer quiet. Every corner echoed with distant metal footsteps, strange static whispers, and a hum of alien plasma blades. Emergency red lights flickered like a heartbeat. The whole base felt alive and afraid. Commander Hale led the way with a map tablet in hand. 3 plasma bombs detected, he said, his voice steady. 1 near the power core, 1 in the weapons vault, 1 in the medical wing. Rex spun an arrow between his fingers. Then let's save the base before it explodes. Dr. Wheeler kept scanning with her datapad. Her hand shook slightly, but she stayed focused. We must hurry. These bombs aren't normal explosives. They tear atoms apart. If even one detonates, the entire valley will vanish. Rex gave a nod. Then we won't let even one tick. The power core. Their first stop was the heart of the outpost, the power core chamber. The room was huge, filled with glowing pipes, humming coils, and swirling blue energy. In the center, a cylinder of light pulsed like a beating star. But the bomb was not the problem. The 6 stalkers guarding it were. They stood in a circle around the core, tall and silent like statues. Their armor reflected the blue glow. Their blades were already active, humming softly. Hale's heart pounded. They were expecting us. Rex smiled. Good. He didn't wait. He fired the moment they stepped inside. The first steel arrow pierced the nearest stalker's neck before it even moved. It collapsed, armor clattering loudly. The others turned instantly. The battle exploded. Stalkers charged with blur-fast speed. Hale ducked, rolling behind a pillar as plasma blades slashed where his head had been. Wheeler hid behind a control desk, sending out EMP bursts to scramble their sensors. Rex, 2 on your right. He pivoted. caught a blade with the shaft of one arrow, and stabbed another stalker straight through the eye with his elbow. The alien fell silently. Hale shot his pistol, not to kill, but to distract. Flashing bullets pinged off armor, making the stalkers turn their heads. That gave Rex seconds. Seconds were enough. He fired a double shot, 2 arrows leaving the bow almost at once, one at a throat, the second a knee. Another stalker tried to leap over a railing, but Rex grabbed it midair and slammed it onto the floor. Within 30 seconds, the room went quiet again. 6 stalkers dead. Rex breathed slowly. Next bomb. Wheeler quickly disabled the power core bomb with shaking fingers. 1 down. 2 to go. The weapons vault. The vault was dark, colder, and filled with shells of rifles now useless against shielded aliens. But someone waited. A single stalker stood in the center. But this one was different. Its armor was thicker, darker, and covered in glowing runes. Its mask had 4 blue eyes instead of 2. Wheeler gasped softly. That's a Warden-class stalker. Hale raised his pistol, meaning it hunts entire squad alone. Rex cracked his neck. So do I. The Warden moved first, faster than anything Rex had faced. It dashed with screeching sound, blade glowing hotter than normal. Rex barely dodged, sliding across the floor. The alien grabbed a shelf and threw it at Hale. The commander dove aside as heavy metal crashed into the wall. Wheeler tried a sensor jam burst, but the Warden ignored it completely. Rex fired an arrow directly at its heart. The Warden spun and snatched the arrow midair, then snapped it. Rex grinned. Oh, you're fun. They clashed in the narrow vault, sparks flying everywhere. Rex blocked blade after blade, his muscles straining. The creature hit like a machine. Rex pushed back like a storm. The alien slashed at his leg. Rex jumped, flipping over it, firing another arrow mid-spin. This time the shot landed. The arrow pierced the Warden's shoulder and pinned it briefly to the wall. Hale shouted, Rex, the bomb. Wheeler pointed. It's counting down. Rex sprinted toward the bomb, but the Warden tore itself loose and leaped at him, just 1 second too slow. Rex grabbed the bomb with one hand and the alien's wrist with the other. He slammed the Warden onto the floor and used the base of his bow like a hammer, striking the alien's mask once, twice, 3 times. The mask shattered. Blue lights flickered inside. Rex placed the bomb directly onto the alien's exposed core. The Warden froze. Rex stepped back. Hold that for me. The creature tried to rise. Then the bomb shut off. Wheeler exhaled with relief. You connected its energy loop with the alien's armor. Genius. Rex wiped sweat from his face. Lucky guess. The medical wing. Final threat. By the time they reached the medical wing, the sky outside had turned purple with storm clouds from the still-open skygate. The last bomb sat on a stretcher in the center of the room, and next to it stood the alien commander. The towering figure wore white armor, marked with gold lines. No weapon, no helmet, only glowing, intense eyes. It did not move as they entered. Wheeler whispered, That's the one who ordered the gun ban. The alien commander spoke in a deep, echoing voice. You humans are chaos, unpredictable, dangerous. You bring primitive weapons that defeat our greatest shields. You turn arrows into death storms. Hale lifted his pistol. So what? Afraid of a little metal. The alien looked at Rex. No, afraid of you. Rex stepped forward. Good. Fear makes you slow. The alien didn't fight. It simply pressed a button on its wrist. The sky gate outside began collapsing, slowly, but falling directly toward the valley. If it crashed, it would release all the unstable energy inside. Everyone would die. Rex pulled his last arrow from his quiver. A perfect steel arrow, polished, balanced, deadly. He whispered, Let's end this. He fired. The arrow flew past the alien commander and hit the control node behind him, a small spherical device, the true detonator. It shattered into pieces. The sky gate froze, then closed safely. The alien stared at Rex, stunned. Rex walked past him, picked up the bomb, and crushed it with his bare hands. The alien commander lowered its head. You win. This time. Rex shrugged. Come back with better armor. Aftermath. Hours later, as dawn touched the valley, Outpost 9 stood safe. Smoke rose. Walls were damaged. But humanity was alive. Hale clapped Rex on the shoulder. You saved the world. Rex looked at the broken Skygate scars in the air. No, he said calmly. Just defended it. Veeler smiled. And now the galaxy knows humans don't need guns to win. Rex grinned. We have steel and willpower. The wind carried the scent of metal and victory across the valley. Humanity had fought back, and the galaxy would remember. HFY